Welcome back, guys. So, the question that I've been getting is how many calories do I need to eat in order to lose weight? And I'm sure a lot of you that are looking to lose weight have asked yourself this question plenty of times, and you've looked on the internet a lot, and every single website that you click on has a different answer. And I've put together a formula that can work for just about anybody that will help you tremendously. So let's first start out with where you are at. So look on this chart and you will see on the right side is for female and the left side is for male. Now find your height that you're sitting at and then look at the numbers that I circled. And if you are 20 pounds over that weight that is circled, then you will use these top three numbers that I've put here, and we'll get to those in a minute. Now, for the bottom numbers that I have here, you will look at the chart and see if the numbers that I circled, again, the right are for the female, the left are for the male. If you are within, once you find your height, if you're within 10 pounds over or less than that number, then you will be using the bottom numbers. But I'm highly certain that most of you that clicked on this video are struggling with losing weight, so you will most likely be on these top three numbers. So let's run a few things for us. So the numbers, what we're going to do here is we have two letters under each of them, which means this number is for not active people. So let's say you go to work, you come home, and you don't do much of moving after you've came back home from work. This would be you not active. That is if you have a desk job, you were sitting all day, then you came home and you didn't put in any sort of physical activity. This would be you non-active. Now, over to the next one, this is moderately active. So if you're on your feet most of the day and you're walking around, whether it be you're at a car dealership and you're running around tagging cars, or if you are, let's say, server, you can be a waitress, a server. This would be you moderately active. And then very active would be that you're on your feet all day during work, you come home and you also put in 30 minutes to an hour of physical activity, whether that be walking at a fast pace, jogging, anything that's 30 to 45 minutes of constant pace. So now that you've figured out which one you are, and be honest with yourself, if you don't really move that much at all during the day, or if you are on your feet a little bit of the day and then you come home and you don't do any sort of physical activity, you're most likely going to be here. So let's start here. Now that you found where you lie on the chart, so now let's go down to this one. This is the same thing. Non-active, moderately active, and very active. So again, this would be if you are within 10 pounds of the average weight for your height on that chart, you will be down below this red line and you will be using these numbers. And these fall in the same category: non-active, moderately active, very active. So let's run numbers on the top one. So let's say you are a male that is 185 pounds. You're going to times your weight by that number. And if you're moderately active, you'll use that number. Very active, you'll use the last one. So we're going to start with the first one, 185 pounds times 10. You will be looking at, so this would be your number of calories that you eat in order to maintain your current weight if you have no activity or very little activity in your life. So now let's run numbers for the bottom one. If you are down below the red line, and we'll take the same scenario, 185-pound male times 15, 2,775 calories. This would be your maintenance calories that you have to eat in order to maintain your weight. So now that we have these numbers, you can, again, if you're here or here, you can do the same thing, times your body weight by that number, times your body weight by them numbers up there, if that is you. And be honest with yourself. You know, if you're really not active and you're not on your feet 6 to 8 hours a day at work and come home and actually put in 30 to 45 minutes of physical activity again, then you're probably not that last number. So be honest with yourself. If you're 10, not active, use that number. It's a very good start. It's a very good place to start for you. So for those of you who don't know, 3,500 calories is 1 pound. Now, what you can do is you can split this up, and because that number can be very intimidating if you don't split it up and break it down. So what you would do is you would times that by 7 days a week. So you would have 3,500 calories times 7 days a week, because hopefully you are trying to be active for 7 days a week. You're not saying you have to be, but let's use it as an analogy. So that would mean that you have 500 calories a day. So I do want to point out the fact that if your height is 5'5" or lower, things can get a little tricky here with the numbers that I provided. So I'm going to bring the numbers back up, and that is 10, 11, and 12. This being very active, moderately active, and this one being non-active. So if your height is 5'5" or lower, let's take a person that's 5'5", like a female, 5'5", and the average weight would be about 140 pounds. Now, I'm not saying this to offend anybody, by all means. I'm just giving you the facts and the chart that I got off the internet for average weight for height. Now, let's give the idea that we have a 5'5" woman, and the average weight would be 140, and let's say they're sitting around 160, 175. I mean, that would be 20 pounds over, which would mean that these numbers would be for you. Now, let's run numbers real quick. Let's say you're 165 times, and you're not active. Let's say you go to work, you're not moving that much, you come home and you don't put in 30, 45 minutes of physical activity. You'll times that, and you're looking at this amount of calories to maintain your weight. Hold on. There we go. So you're looking at that many calories to maintain your weight. 3,500 calories is equivalent to 1 pound, and if your goal is to lose 1 pound a week, which is pretty healthy, you'd be doing numbers and you would be minusing 500 from that, and you'd be at that many calories, which is absurd. I wouldn't recommend going under 1,200 calories a day unless you are being monitored by an expert. So before you say that I got donkey brains and I'm sipping the crazy Kool-Aid, I want you, if this is your scenario and you're around 5'5" and under, and you're 20 pounds overweight according to the chart, what I'd rather have you do instead of doing these numbers like that, I would still take your maintenance 165 pound 5'5" woman times 10. You'd be looking at the same 1650. I would keep your calorie intake at this number. That's what you're going to maintain your weight at. I would try to get your activity level over to this one or either this one, but I wouldn't recommend changing your numbers and timesing it by 11 or 12. I would stay at this one, but try to get your activity level up just a little bit more, and you wouldn't have to take away any calories to try and lose weight. What you can do is just bring your activity up a little bit and keep this where it's at. I just wanted to make that known because I don't recommend anybody eating less than 1,200 calories a day.